Mics are on. We are live. Gonna get out of studio mode, and it is just us. We back.
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
Hola, everybody.
Happy Wednesday to everybody.
Were you about to say happy, joy?
No, I was going to say happy
DMCA.
Tuesday.
We are on Twitch.
Oh, yeah, so hello, Facebook, hello, Twitch. Hello to everybody else who's tuning in from wherever else you are tuning in from. Basically, if you are not familiar with this show, basically, Mr. Greer and I are doing a thing called Truly Inconsequential, where not all characters are created equal. So this is where Greer and I basically argue over the most ridiculous and nonsensical fictional cast members ever to grace pop culture. And this week, we've got a real fun one. What do you call it? We're going to be debating if Kimmy Gibbler is truly inconsequential,
Yes.
and Jar Jar Binks of Star Wars, if he is truly inconsequential.
Yes.
This is going to be a really fun show.
Oh, nice. We did, and I just want to say we did just get a follow. Barthel8CS is thank you for the follow on Twitch. We
Thank
got a
you.
new Twitch follower.
Very cool.
Which
Appreciate
is very
it.
cool.
What do you call it? So this one should be a lot of fun. Hey, what's going on, Kim?
Definitely an interesting combo.
Anybody who's in the chat, make sure you guys drop anything you want to say and discuss about these two specific characters, and Greer and I will absolutely debate the hell out of them and include you in on the conversation.
Yeah.
So we're still getting used to the whole vibe of this show. This is the fourth one in. We've had some really fun shows. If you've missed them in the past, you want to catch up. We've done some pretty cool ones with like Iago from Aladdin and oh my god, I mean just a whole bunch of different characters. What's her face from the one we can't stand from Forrest Gump? Jenna.
Yeah.
So what do you call it? You can always check those out on our official website, thegrindhouseradio.com. You can watch them there. You can also listen to them there in podcast form. So whichever you'd like to do, that'd be great.
Hey, all right, Barthel. Just want to let you know, Zambo is not on this show. This is a me and Brim show, so you should stay and listen to this conversation. But you will not get Zambo on this show.
No.
Unless he wants to sit in at some point, maybe.
There you
we'll
go.
See.
And hello, Jace. What do you call it? Vibes from Kimberlina.
Yeah.
What do you call it? Hello,
Good vibes.
Bombalina. Very nice to see you, Bombalina. Without seeing you, unfortunately, because you're not in studio.
Yeah.
But what do you
You
call
can
it?
see a little face on the picture on the inside.
Oh yeah, it's true. It's a little face.
It's a very nice default.
She's smiling. So when Ida Shiza is smiling, Kimmy and Jar Jar have a similar body shape and scratchy voice. This is true.
That's a good point.
Maybe we should change this to who is more consequential, Kimmy or Jar Jar. Or who's more annoying and irritating. I don't know.
I don't know. That's a conversation because you see the problem is the vibe that I get from before we even start picking a character and dissecting it from character to character.
Yeah.
I'm afraid that we're gonna agree on this one, on both accounts.
It might be
That's
an
how
agreement.
I'm kind of feeling about the vibe of this conversation because look, of course, we can argue and debate which characters are consequential. There's plenty of characters in entertainment that Brim's gonna think are important and I'm gonna think are important and vice versa that we're not gonna agree on.
Yeah.
These two we probably will. These two probably will. We might even have time for a third one. Hell, maybe a fourth.
Hey Herb, how you doing?
Welcome to the chat, Herb.
So all right, so let's get started. What do you guys think? Do you think we should go after Kimmy first, or should we go after Jar Jar first?
Yeah.
Your choice. What do you think? Kimmy Gibbler or Jar Jar Binks? Who should we be talking about?
Yeah, I need to come up with a. I'm gonna try to look into this after we're done with our show today, or after the work day. Like we need to come up with like polls, like on for like social media, and like figure out like who's more inconsequential, like for example, Jar Jar or Kimmy, and see what the fans think.
Yeah.
Or Herb says Jar Jar. So should we do Jar Jar? Wow, I figured you'd want to save Jar Jar for the end, but okay, we can do Jar Jar, I guess.
See, here's the thing. Kim says Jar Jar. That's because she likes Kimmy Gibbler. That's probably what it is. She probably is a Kimmy Gibbler lover. She's very much like Kimmy Gibbler to a certain extent.
Do not.
Come on, hold on. She's clumsy as hell, just like Kimmy Gibbler. She bursts into rooms, just like Kimmy Gibbler. But she is more like the Candace Cameron character in real life. She's goody two shoes.
Yeah.
So I'll give you that.
Yeah. I think she's.
He's getting defensive.
She's
What's
more
going
like
on here?
She's more like DJ Tanner than Kimmy Gibbler.
That's true. DJ Tanner. There you go. All right, fair enough. Well, regardless, I think Jar Jar is the answer here. So let's. She's saying I'm not Kimmy Gibbler. All right, so let's go after Jar Jar first. So, in my opinion, Jar Jar Binks completely, truly inconsequential.
Well, I mean, I like to look just to start right away. I mean, like Star Wars, the Lucasfilms thought Jar Jar was truly inconsequential because after the first movie, Jar Jar got less and less lines. Like he was involved in the movie less and less as the trilogy went on.
I agree with you there, but the thing is I think they felt forced to do that, no pun intended, forced.
Yeah.
But I felt that they felt forced to kind of give him less and less time. And the reason for that is because everybody hated him so much.
Yeah.
He got so much hate, so much backlash that people wanted nothing to do with the character.
Well, the guy who I'm almost positive, don't quote me on this. I mean, if any of you have yes or no to this definitively in the chat, let me know. But I'm pretty sure that the actor that did Jar Jar Binks got like death threats.
He did. He got death threats. I think he was close to suicide.
Yeah.
Hold on one second. Jose here says, this is a no-brainer. Kimmy gave you the eye roll chuckle, eye roll cringe chuckle on occasion, but Jar Jar defined a whole trilogy. Freaking hell, he made the Emperor the Emperor. Okay.
Yeah, but the thing is like I don't know if he necessarily made the Emperor the Emperor. See, like Jar Jar becomes consequential if that like all you Star Wars fans, like that rumor that circulates through the Star Wars community of Jar Jar was really supposed to be the puppet master pulling all the strings all along because he's supposed to be some big Sith figure. Like that was the original plan for Jar Jar.
Right.
But they got scared. Like if that were to be a thing, then he's consequential. But he's not. Like he's a character that's supposed to be a joke, and he's not even a funny enough joke to enjoy it.
It's inconsequential, Mr. Grill.
Yeah, like it's terrible. Like I almost would have respected them a little more if they just like leaned into it. Like it's almost like they saw all this backlash from Jar Jar, got super scared, and yanked him from the movie. Like stand up with your decisions. Like just leave Jar Jar in the movie if you want to make him something.
But then the Transformers made the same mistake and made those two characters like the characters similar to Jar Jar. They were supposed to be like hip hop type characters, and all they did was just completely insult the hell out of people with those characters.
Yeah.
And it just pissed people off.
Herb says every Star Wars movie had a Jar Jar type character. Jar Jar just got more hate. But that's the thing. What in other Star Wars movies, who is the Jar Jar Binks? Like, who's the Jar Jar Binks of A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi? I don't think there is one. Like, for the most part, I think in the rest of the Star Wars movies, there aren't characters that are as hated. Even in the new, everybody hates the new trilogy.
Right.
I don't think there's a character as hated as Jar Jar Binks is.
No.
That you can think of offhand.
No.
I mean, like, people hate Rey, but people hate Rey for different reasons than you hate. And I think those are baseless arguments. Like, Rey is is a star in that franchise.
Okay. The what do you call it? It's the little creatures.
The Ewoks.
No, the Ewoks. Herb just said Ewoks. But what do you call it? The ones that were in the newer trilogy.
Porgs.
The Porgs. Yeah. They got a little bit of hate.
They got a little hate, but
they weren't a character.
Did they get Jar Jar hate? Because
No,
Jar Jar was
but Jar Jar was an actual character.
He was an actual character that interacted with the main characters of the movie, or had something to do with the main characters of the movie.
I think he was supposed to be like
useless.
the Chewbacca. He was supposed to be a new Chewbacca, which would have made him consequential to a certain extent. And the fact of the matter is, it's just he couldn't hold his own.
But they got him scared. The problem, but it's almost like he may have been more consequential if Lucasfilms decided they were gonna stand by their convictions and use him. Because you're right. Because you're right. I feel like it looks like he got such bad rap from Star Wars fans after the first movie that they just gradually took him out.
Right.
Like if they would have been like, we're not listening to you Star Wars fans because you guys are all lunatics, we're going to leave him in and we're going to use him the way we want to use him. Maybe he would have been consequential. Maybe he would have had a better place in the Star Wars lore.
Maybe, but it didn't happen, and he doesn't, and that's unfortunate, perhaps. Yeah. He was irritating as sin. I honestly, I didn't mind him all that much. I liked sitting and doing the voice and being silly, but they did something for the kids. That basically he was for the kids. They made him like that for children to like. Hold on, Jace says Kimmy Gibbler and Jar Jar have the same brain functionality. They weren't both that smart. He's talked about the Ewoks already. Jose says Porgs. People hate Porgs.
I don't understand what's the real hate about the Porgs? Like why are they such a big enough thing that you hate? Like, actually, like Jar Jar at least said stupid things, had stupid moments.
Well,
in the
he's
movies.
a character.
He was a character. Porgs are literally minute little animals from a space movie. Where's the hate from?
Technically, so were Ewoks, but there were certain Ewoks that had names that were main, pieces of that puzzle.
But the Ewoks helped fight stormtroopers and stuff like that.
Agreed.
The Ewoks had an integral part to the story. Porgs
They do nothing.
are just there to make noises and
They do nothing.
and stand in to look cute as wildlife. for an
That's all
area.
they're there for. They are
know?
inconsequential, whether they're there or not. It doesn't make a difference. All right, look. In my personal opinion, I mean, look. If they would have continued with Jar Jar and Jar Jar would have potentially gone down that path of becoming that big Sith Lord and so forth, I think that it would have, and it was all an act, and all that stupidity that would have been interesting, and I would have maybe bought into it.
Yeah.
At this point, there's no way possible that that Jar Jar Binks should be considered consequential.
But what do you mean, Kirby? You said because people feel that there's no reason to give them screen time as far as the Porgs. But why though? Like, what? So why was there no reason? Was there no reason to give any wildlife in a Star Wars movie screen time? Like, you're just trying to build more of a scene. I think that's ridiculous. And on the whole kids thing, just spoiler alert: Star Wars is a kids movie. Star Wars are basically kids movies. It's all about outer space and all that stuff. Like, so all the characters that are made for Star Wars are made with kids in mind. Like that's just the way Star Wars is, So I don't feel like you can really essentially get mad like, oh, Jar Jar Binks was too much of a kids movie type thing. Porgs are too much of a kids movie type thing. It's a movie about space and aliens. So guess what?
True.
It's a kids movie,
Jose says, I think people hate characters that are meant to sell toys. Jar Jar, Porgs, hip hop, Transformers.
I guess it makes sense, but I mean, like, I feel like, I don't know. I feel like people just it's the Star Wars argument that nobody that's a Star Wars fan, other than the Mandalorian,
Right.
And I'll give you the cartoons a little bit. Hardcore Star Wars fans are never going to be pleased because it's not the original trilogy. Like, they hated the prequels and they hate the new trilogy because it's not A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi. They're so set in those movies that they can't find enjoyment in anything else that isn't the exact same as those, or in similar vein as those. So Jar Jar just got even more hate because nobody's gonna be satisfied, So Star Wars again got scared and took Jar Jar out.
No, I can see that. Herb is actually saying that kids movies, that's a stretch. He's disagreeing with you on that.
I don't think, but I think Star Wars is like, look, everybody can enjoy a movie. I enjoyed Pixar movies. Pixar movies are kids movies. Like Soul. Soul was a movie that
They're
think
family movies. Maybe they're not children's movies. They're family-based movies.
What? Pixar?
Pixar movies, Star Wars movies. I think they're more family-based. So they're not children-based because they might be PG-13.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're not G-rated.
None of them are G-rated. If you have a PG rating, which I think Star Wars does. Star Wars is
parental guidance.
So
it's a family movie.
So it's a family movie, but I would consider family movies are more geared for children or kids because you in a family movie setting, you're creating it with the idea that mom, dad, brothers and sisters, kids are going to be watching this along with the parents. Whereas PG-13, you're making a movie that you're expecting, parents, moms, dads, and then kids in their 13, 14, 15. You're expecting them to watch it, No,
I'm with you. I think George Lucas admitted that he made the movies for kids.
Yeah, I mean, because it's a movie. It's a movie made about space, and Jim Henson made puppets for it. It's a kids movie, like that's.
What about Spaceballs?
Spaceballs is well, all right. I guess you got a point. You got me on Spaceballs. Spaceballs could be a kids movie. You're just gonna have to make. There's gonna be some explanations that you're gonna have with the children.
A lot of explanations.
Depends on. I don't. Hey, I'm not gonna tell anybody how to parent their kids. If you want to watch Spaceballs, you're just gonna have to have some conversations after.
I love that.
You gotta have some. Hey, you're gonna have to have some conversations with your kids after Star Wars.
This is true.
Luke kisses Leia. You got to just tell them, hey, listen, kids, incest is not moral. You can't do that.
But did they? But do they know at that point? I don't think they know at that point. No, wait, you do know that.
You find out in the end because Vader says it.
Oof.
You find out. Oof. You find out that Luke and Leia are brother and sister. Yeah, that's gross. Yeah, if kids are watching.
All right.
Incest is a no-no.
So what do you think?
Producer Jace, thank you for the follow on Twitch, by the way.
Do you think that what do you think? Do you think Jar Jar is consequential?
I think Jar Jar is inconsequential, and it is because of Lucasfilms themselves. They got too scared, and they're the reason it's not Jar Jar's fault. It's Lucasfilm's fault that Jar Jar became inconsequential.
Listen, that I agree with you. I am totally inconsequential.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, that was
Inconsequential. That was a bad one.
Ugh. No, not that it was a bad one. It was
I'm still like getting it together this morning.
No.
You know
You did
what I'm saying?
you did a lot. You did a lot better
Yeah.
than I had expected for you to do a Jar Jar voice. But
I haven't done it
basically
in a
sounded
while. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I agree with you. So we got a double stamp on that one.
Yeah.
Absolutely, positively. Would you guys agree? Do you guys agree that Jar Jar is inconsequential? I believe that you guys are all kind of on board with that.
Yeah,
So,
Jar Jar does. You could have taken Jar Jar out of the movie, and it would have done nothing to it.
Yeah.
It would have done nothing to it.
Would have done nothing.
Like at this point, he's not important. He's not important in the least bit. Maybe the first movie. Maybe you leave. Maybe he's a little bit consequential in Phantom Menace, just because he does have a bigger role in it. But as the Star Wars universe goes on in the prequels, he's just less and less important to me personally. I just that's just how I feel. I was never a big Jar Jar fan.
I'll be with you. Like I said, I didn't care about him one way or another. I like to do the silly voice, and that was about it. And I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
So, but
and he'd never beat Chewbacca.
No.
Even if you left him in the movie
Can't.
long enough, he'd never beat Chewie's the best.
It's but I will tell you this. Aside, even though he is inconsequential, the fact of the matter is he is a truly memorable character. You will never forget Jar Jar Binks.
You will never forget. So I guess
Never.
but okay. So if he's a truly memorable character and you'll never forget him, and you'll always associate him with Star Wars, does that make him consequential?
No, and the reason for that is because the only reason why he's memorable is because people hated him so much, and he was not a villain, so he wasn't doing his job.
I guess that's true.
You know what I mean?
Well, we'll take it to a wrestling.
We're not going to go with the heel. He's not a heel.
We can take it to a wrestling perspective.
He's not a
you
heel.
have, you know how you sometimes have the guys
Yes.
that are so overtly positive and so overtly a good guy
Yeah.
that they're immediately booed and dubbed a heel.
Okay.
So maybe that was him. Maybe
So you want to go with that twist? You want to make him consequential? Are you fighting the good fight?
I'm conflicted.
Are you fighting the good fight?
My brain is conflicted. I'm going to still say inconsequential. I'm going to say inconsequential.
Okay.
We don't need Jar Jar.
We're gonna go inconsequential
needs
on
Jar
this
Jar.
one, and that'll.
But
be
it makes you think. It's things that make you go, Yeah.
All right. So Kimmy Gibbler, sir.
Kimmy Gibbler. All right, so here's the thing. I initially thought we were going to come into this and say that Kimmy Gibbler is inconsequential. I thought we were both going to see eye to eye on this. But in the spirit of the show, in the spirit of this being a debate show, I'm going to say Kimmy Gibbler is consequential.
You're an ass because I actually think she is consequential.
Okay, all right. Okay, that's. I guess that's fair. Why do you think she's all right? Then why do you think she's consequential? And I'll see if I'll try and spin it the other. I'll see if I can spin it the other way.
Well, here's the thing. Now look, as annoying and irritating as Kimmy Gibbler is, she is the mainstay. She is the best friend of one of the main characters of the show. She is the Urkel, so to speak, of the series.
Yeah.
A lot of the events that happen along the lines only happen because Kimmy Gibbler is the way Kimmy Gibbler is, and she affects all the different members in the household.
Yeah, okay.
So it's not just like DJ's friend, and then she doesn't interact with all the other characters.
Yeah.
She's very well involved with all the other characters.
Yeah.
Now, whether that's good, bad, or indifferent, that is a completely different animal whatsoever.
Yeah.
I think that in terms of being consequential, I think that if she wasn't there, certain things wouldn't happen, which would have changed the pivots in how the storyline had actually gone.
Yeah, because initially I was trying to just think like if I took Kimmy Gibbler out, would it change any of the meaningful moments that a Full House had? Would it change the overarching story of the show or like the way the show moved? And I don't necessarily know. I don't necessarily know that if you just took Kimmy Gibbler out that the show would be garbage or the show wouldn't have as much meaning. But I kind of do agree with you that I feel like the Tanners as a whole were a picture of like the model like family, like the perfect family, always communicated, loved each other, hugged and everything. And Kimmy Gibbler was like the dose of real life that would come walking through the door.
She was the bull in the china closet.
Exactly. Yeah, she was the one that came in and showed everybody that like everything isn't as perfect and put together as the Tanners like to make it seem. She was the one that came in. She had like the weird
whirlwind.
She had the dysfunctional family. She came in. She was crazy. She like ate a whole bunch of junk food. She was like making everybody's lives hell. Uncle Jesse hated her. Joey hated her. Danny Tanner hated her. So like it took the the happy, cheery face that you saw in all of these characters regularly.
Suck the life right out of them.
Suck the life right out of the room.
Like Jar Jar did in Star Wars.
Exactly. Except the creators of Full House didn't say, well, everybody seems to hate Kimmy Gibbler. She seems really annoying. We're just going to yank her from the show.
But hold on.
No. We're going to make her annoy everybody.
But here's the thing: is she annoyed everybody in the show and the people at home. In Star Wars, within the film they didn't care about Jar Jar. They weren't upset with him. They loved him.
They didn't get the opportunity to because, like we were saying, after the first movie, Jar Jar got axed. Look, Jar Jar's own people hated him. If we remember, the reason that Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon ran into Jar Jar was because he was expelled from the Gungans. Like, that's why. Kimmy Gibbler, but I felt Kimmy Gibbler was that's what she was. She was the dose of reality.
Oh yeah.
In what otherwise
pretty little world.
Was the pretty world of the Tanners.
Yeah.
Like they were all happy. Oh, they hugged after everything. They always said their feelings that they loved each other. Yeah, sure. Sure. I think Stephanie Tanner smoked at some point, or I know they had their little dramas and stuff. But Kimmy Gibbler was the one that brought you the real dose of reality.
That's true.
Like, this is what the real world is.
It's true. And she was just. I mean, she was just a big ball of wildfire. Like, no matter where she was in the show, you knew trouble was coming.
Yeah, but also she was the glass half full. Like, whenever everything got down and somber, like every time somebody hit some struggles, or somebody was, DJ failed a test, Stephanie was having school problems with her classmates. Like, Kimmy Gibbler would come in, and she would just come in, big smile on her face. She'd come in, I know, like one of the Prime episodes, she comes in with like a light up pocketbook and a light up dress, looking all ridiculous. Like, she was the one that took all the down moments and tried to flip them into positive moments and keep everybody's spirits uplifted.
Right. Yeah, no, I see. That's where now you're on this on Team Keeper.
Now, I got to be on Team Keeper.
And that's the thing. I mean, as annoying of a character as she is, and she still is. Have you watched any of the Fuller Houses?
I watched like the first few episodes of Fuller House. I didn't get full. I was a big Full House fan as a child. Like, used to watch it all day, not all day, but
that doesn't surprise me.
Every day. I loved that show. I used to watch it with my mom religiously. It was that and Roseanne. I used to watch Roseanne.
Oh, Roseanne!
I loved
great.
Roseanne.
We're gonna have to pick a character from Roseanne.
Okay, we could probably do that.
We're gonna have to pick.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back and rewatch it because I'm a big fan of the Connors now too. That's been really good.
Yeah, somebody just died on their show apparently, not from the show, but from the. Not on the show, not the cast, but one of the crew members fell from a catwalk. Yeah.
Oh, that's terrible.
They just fell from a catwalk and
terrible.
passed. 20 years they were with them.
T's and P's.
Isn't that crazy?
Chat, what do you guys think? What are your vibes on Kimmy Gibbler? How are you feeling about Gibbler? Because I initially thought when we first set this one up, I looked at the promo picture that we had for today's theme that we had set up, and it was Jar Jar Binks versus Kimmy Gibbler. I'm like, wow, we're about to rag on two characters about how they should not exist in these movies and TV shows. But Kimmy does have a play. Like, Urkel is the perfect comparison.
Yeah,
she's the Steve Urkel in Full House,
and that's what changed my point of view going into this, because I thought at very first I'm like, all right, it would not make a goddamn lick of difference if she was in it or not. It's just like when we were arguing about Janae. You know what I mean? When we're talking about Jenny, like, in my opinion. And I know we went the other way and we made her a hero and we kept her on the consequential side. Like, it could have been any female in that position, because she came and went over time, as to where Kimmy Gibbler never went. She was always there.
Always there.
She was part of the Tanner family.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, she is absolutely a part of the storyline, so if you took her out, there's a lot of things that would be missing.
Yeah.
A good portion of the upbringing of the kids, of the coming of the family, of, relationships, and there were so many different things.
Yeah.
And then watching Fuller House, when I watched with Haley, all the newer episodes, it's like she still has that same position, but she's still very, very much included on everything that's going on within the family, you know? So you couldn't just take anybody and throw them in there, because not everybody who was there back when stuck around. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that is like a, she's very consequential.
Yeah, she's basically the fourth kid.
Yeah.
You know, because like for the most part, that's what it was. Like Kimmy Gibbler, like she would always say that her parent, like when she'd bring up her parents would just be willing to dump her on the Tanners and stuff like that. Like they were ready to get rid of her and stuff like that. So she was basically, her last name was Gibbler, but for the most part, she was one of the main kids on the show. Yeah, she wasn't in every episode. I don't believe she wasn't in every episode. Yeah, she didn't have the Tanner name, but I mean, like for the most part. You couldn't just look around the show and be like, okay, if I took you and put you in Kimmy Gibbler's spot, you would have been just as influential. No, like the character Kimmy Gibbler was needed to add some edges to the Tanner family to just throw like
a little dirt on their clean floor.
Exactly. You needed somebody to break their barrier, like somebody to make them a little bit uncomfortable. As the well-oiled family unit that they were,
especially Danny Tanner.
Yeah, exactly.
Because Danny Tanner was like squeaky clean. Yeah. It was like funny enough. It's like putting old school GHR when Kim and I first got in together. Because Kim at that point was squeaky clean.
Yeah.
And I am this, with all the edges. And then you put us together. I was the Kimmy Gibbler to her Danny Tanner.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it was the same type of relationship on that show. Not like he hates her, you know what I mean, or doesn't really hate her, but he drove her crazy.
No, but he annoyed her.
But that's the kind of interaction that you're getting, where you're getting two completely different styles thrown together, but it works really well. You know what I mean?
Well, because
you never yin to the yang.
Yeah, because you never really saw Danny outside of somebody making a mess and like leaving like a mess out on the floor. You never really saw Danny Tanner like eye roll or get upset
except for when Kimmy Gibbler came.
Except for when Kimmy came. Like there were enough times where Uncle Jesse got annoyed by somebody.
Yeah.
Or even Joey. Like Joey was always this jokester, like comedian, like would do funny voices and stuff. And even Joey needed somebody to that he got annoyed by. Like he needed that contentious figure that made him like scratch his head and just throw him off his speed, because he didn't have that. You need somebody to make you uncomfortable, and that's what Kimmy Gibbler was.
I agree.
So
I guess we are in agreement. 2 for 2.
Yeah, so Jar Jar's inconsequential. Nobody needed Jar Jar.
Nobody needed him.
But Kimmy Gibbler's got to be consequential.
Got to be consequential.
And I can't believe that I'm saying that, because like
Me neither.
I really thought that Kimmy Gibbler was going to be.
What's really funny is like when we're coming up with, so the way we're trying to come up with things, and please everybody out there, you come into the lives, please drop us different ideas. If you want to email them to us, you want to, social media them to us, please shoot us ideas for different characters that you feel are inconsequential.
Yeah.
The funny thing is when we're coming up with things, we think of fun characters and funny characters that we're just like, yeah, this one's like such an idiot character, or, was dumb here. But, when you think about it, they're like, okay, that one actually did make sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's surprising.
I suggested Kimmy Gibbler because I thought we were gonna argue that she doesn't mean anything. Like we put Kimmy Gibbler on the list because I thought that she was a character that you could just omit and she would be the perfect candidate for truly inconsequential, because she is that. But no, when you really think about it, she did hold a very important part in the show.
Yeah.
Like she was an integral part of the show. What is funny about Full House, though, and I will never not laugh about, is Bob Saget.
He's freaking hilarious.
Because Bob Saget plays, and I love listening to him talk about when he played Danny Tanner and stuff like that, how he's this squeaky clean, picture perfect dad, but then Bob Saget in real life is not Danny Tanner.
No.
In the least bit. He's probably one of the funniest people you ever get to listen to.
He is the dirtiest son of a gun.
And he's hilarious.
Yeah,
though.
He
is literally the anti-Danny Tanner.
I don't know how he got that position.
But that's what makes it funnier. That's what makes, like, especially when, like, as a kid, you expect him to just be, you expect him to be Danny Tanner. Like, you expect him to be this nice, heartwarming person. And then you listen to him when you get older and then go back and watch Full House, and it makes the show funnier.
Yeah. It's true. Anyway, so I think that's it for today. I think we're good. What do you call it? So we got 1 hero, 1 0. What do you call it? I'm happy with today.
Yeah, I'm happy with today. I think it's good. I know we both agreed on the two of these, but I think it's good that we got one. We don't have two inconsequentials. We don't have two consequentials.
Yeah.
We got two people that we can put in two opposite categories, and I'm pretty good with it.
Yeah,
I'm kind of glad we ended with Kimmy Gibbler. I didn't think we would spend the longest amount of time on Kimmy Gibbler.
I know. Actually, no. Yeah. We spent.
I think we did.
Wow, that's pretty crazy.
Well, it's because it's so unanimous that Jar Jar is a bum that we don't. like we didn't really need that much time to just explain that Jar Jar Binks stinks.
So now here's the question before we finish out the show. Who's worse, Kimmy Gibbler or Jar Jar Binks?
Jar Jar Binks.
Annoying-wise.
Oh, Jar Jar Binks, because Kimmy Gibbler at least provided more. Like as a character, she annoyed the cast more, or annoyed the characters more.
Right.
But I think Kimmy Gibbler gave you more funny moments, and Jar Jar just gave you more annoying and then ultimately useless moments.
I'll give you that.
You know,
I'll stick with you on that one. I will stick with you on that one.
Yeah,
it was good.
Like this, good. Yeah, like. I don't know. I can't think of a moment in Star Wars, like in any form of the new trilogies, that I laughed at
Jar Jar
Binks. But I can if I really thought about it and went back and watched Full House,
you could find
plenty of moments where Kimmy Gibbler's like, it's just, you might not be your stomach might not be hurting kind of laughs.
Yeah.
But you definitely did the eye roll and like chuckled. You giggled a little bit.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, freaking Kimmy. Like I said, when she shows up to the Tanner house in a light up dress and light up purse, ready to go to some dance, it's like, you know what, Kimmy, you would absolutely do something like that. That's hilarious.
Yeah. There we go. Anyway, guys, listen. That's about all for this week's Truly Inconsequential. Thank you so much for tuning in. We greatly appreciate it. Please, as always, join in the chats 2 to 2:30 every single Wednesday. We're going to be here with you. We're going to be chatting up some pop culture and having a good time sitting and figuring out who is truly inconsequential.
Yes.
As Mr. Greer always says.
Rate, review, subscribe, and you can find us. And you can find us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch now. Up until any one of those decides to make us a partner or an affiliate, we'll be streaming on all three of those, and we're working on the website as well.
There you go. And make sure to hit us up on all the social media, and we'll see you next week. Make sure you hit up GHR tomorrow, 7 p.m.